My father was, and he told me this story about they were traveling through a rural part of the country on the bus that they all traveled at the time, and they stopped at a diner somewhere for lunch. My father at that time was the only African American in the band of about 30 people. They went to the diner, and the servers, the cooks, the owner all came out because they had never seen a black man before. He said they had a wonderful conversation for about 15 to 20 minutes because these people had all these questions for him, which he answered. I imagine some of the questions I might have punched somebody out in, but he was a very kind man. And they shook hands at the end. They were excited to have met someone like that. And then when he went to order his meal, they said, "Sorry, we don't serve Negroes here." I had a father-in-law who served in the military during World War II, and he said that when his ship would pull into port in Pearl Harbor in Honolulu, the black sailors were not allowed to go ashore because it would upset the local population. And then there's the story of Sergeant Isaac Woodard. Sergeant Woodard served honorably in the military, was discharged in 1946, and before he could get home, he was pulled off the bus by a sheriff and 2 deputies and beaten until he became blind. I tell you these stories because it's related to something that I call bravery. There's all different kinds of bravery. But I think one of the most amazing kinds of bravery is when you put your life on the line for somebody who doesn't like you, or doesn't want you, or doesn't want to give you the right you're actually fighting for. Because I think if you are still risking your life for those people, you're risking your life for more than that. You're risking it for an ideal, you're risking it for a principle, or maybe even you're risking it for a dream. I have the distinct pleasure of introducing the next segment of this program, which is going to be a fascinating conversation with 2 individuals who exemplify this kind of bravery. Lieutenant Colonel David Marston is a retired Marine whose father and uncle were Tuskegee Airmen. And Dr. Lucene Benjamin Brickham Sr. is one of the last surviving Tuskegee Airmen. To help facilitate this dialogue, we have a 3rd extraordinary individual, Mr. Jerome Bailey. Jerome was a reporter for the Associated Press, is now here in Houston with his own media company, and you can hear him occasionally as a commentator on KCOH radio here in Houston. So with that introduction, gentlemen, it's an honor and a pleasure to have you here. Welcome aboard.